Global Money Week is a worldwide campaign led by the OECD to promote financial education and inclusion among young people. And this is what S&P Finance Club represents. So it aims to equip individuals with knowledge and skills needed to make informed financial decisions, lay emphasis to inform financial decisions, and avoid common money mistakes and build a secure financial future. This is actually what S&P Finance Club stands for, right? That is why we organized a 2-day webinar to commemorate the Global Money Week, and is most importantly around the topics that we actually gathered from the platform, from our sub platform that people usually ask questions or talk about. Topics like the stock market, the fundamentals of investing in the stock market. So if you were here yesterday, we had that section, which was handled by our own Mookie. And today we are going to talk about a very important aspect of investment: low risk, smart returns, understanding bonds, and fixed income for beginners. Yes, this is beginners basics. In fact, this is almost like where everyone's supposed to start from, like in the scheme of things, theoretically speaking, and even practically speaking, this is where every one of us is supposed to start. Because first of all, you have to build savings. You have to engineer your first more before you think about taking risk and more risk. The stock market is more riskier. Now, our good friend and brother is going to take us on a journey towards understanding fixed income investment, and different options you can explore as someone who is in Nigeria. So this is a very important section for all of us. So stay glued. Just a brief note on Chinonso. Is an accomplished ICT professional and entrepreneur who, with over a decade of experience in deploying digital solutions across health and NGO sector. So why this is important is, judging from where Timex is coming from, you already know that he doesn't have finance background. So he's more like us, So because yesterday we had someone from a more robust finance background. So when he's speaking, you might be like, oh, it's because he worked with NGX. But now you are seeing someone who is a professional like all of us that goes about his business on a daily basis, but is also interested in building financial capacity and resilience. And that's why he took effort towards building himself, understanding financial concept and investment. And that is why he's here. So he's an ICT 4D officer at Catholic Relief Services that specializes in implementing mobile technology and ensuring data security for large-scale health campaign. Chimex is an astute leader, a well-known speaker that has spoken to about over 5,000 students across Nigerian tertiary institutions. And then he's the convener of World Builder platform. Yeah. So he's been on the journey of teaching people how to invest and where to maximize huge potential in investing. Chimex, all I know in a very simple terms, is someone that believes in sustainable investment. Sustainable investment. Little by little, we will all make a nest for ourselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, may we welcome Mr. Chinonso Simon. A hand of applause for him, please. A hand of applause for him as I hand over the mic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Cindy. Thank you, S&P Finance, for this wonderful opportunity. I don't take it for granted. I also want to shout out to all my people who are currently in this class. Thank you very much. Thank you for trusting me to teach. Like Cindy said, I don't work in the NGX or in the finance sector, but I have passion for growing money. Small. I believe in sustainability, and I also believe in wealth preservation. And I'm also a low risk person. I don't like anything that will take my money, so that my money will disappear. So, which is what made me to understand these low risk smart returns very, very well. So, we are going to be starting. This is just, I don't know if you can see my slide. All right. So This is just like Chisimdi just said a lot about me already, so no need to talk about myself. For us in this class, we are going to understand what fixed income investments are about. We are going to explain what bonds and treasury bills mean. We are going to identify types of bonds in Nigeria. We are also going to understand how bonds generate income. We are going to talk about all the different types of fixed income opportunities in Nigeria and how to invest in bond in Nigeria, and also evaluate risk and returns. So the way we used to do in SRP and finance, you can ask questions in the chat box, and you can also keep your questions at the end of the class or answer it. I'll answer. I don't claim to know it all. Feel free to correct me if you know more than me in any of this area that I'm teaching. I also believe that we can also learn together. Nobody knows it all. That's my philosophy. I learn from my students, and my students also learn from me. All right, so I want to start with a question. If you had 500,000 naira today, will you prefer to use it to just start a business or earning steady income without stress? With the way Nigeria is going now, I will not put that 500,000 naira in my business. Rather, I will put it where I will make money without stress, which is where fixed income comes into play. So fixed income investments are those investments that pay you regularly. The income is predictable, the returns are predictable, and it gives you back your original money at the end. So it's more like you are borrowing money to either the government or corporate organizations, and you are earning interest in return. That is what fixed income is about. Now, if you ask me to define low risk, I want to talk about risk because we all have different risk level. Muki talked about risk yesterday. Risk means how can I bear if I lose 2,000 naira? How you go fit pay me? Let me speak it in pidgin. If I lose 2K today, how you go take pay me, or how I go take them? That is more like my risk level. How much can I afford to lose, and I won't go and commit suicide? That's my risk level. In COVID, during COVID 2020, I lost about 5 million naira to one investment we did then. Chisimbi is aware of that, which turned out, we don't even know whether to call it Ponzi scheme or what, but I lost 5 million naira. It's one of my biggest loss in this life. And as I was moving during that period, my heart was beating, bing, bing, bing. As I was moving, my heart was beeping. Like I could feel I can hear the sound of my heart's rate that period. In fact, it happened that all I had in my account was 2,000 naira. And that day, my mother asked me for 2,000 naira, and I had to just give her the 2,000 naira. As in, I saw myself go to ground zero. Like, I know the biggest fear of a man is when you don't have money. You know, when you don't have money, you don't even walk with confidence, because as you're walking on the road, you are afraid so that you don't pour the granite seller's granite, because you might not have any money to pay back. That's how terrible it is when you lose money. So if you ask me to define low risk, I'll tell you that low risk means don't touch my capital. That is my definition of low risk. Anything that doesn't touch my capital is low risk. Anything that doesn't touch that principal money that I'm using is low risk. So I'll try my best to explain in our class as simple as possible for everybody to understand. And anything you don't understand, I'll be able to repeat it again during questions. And I'm easily accessible. As far as you're a member of S&P Finance, you can also call me after this and I'll explain whatever you don't understand, or chat me up on WhatsApp. So fixed income are basically backed by the government. And like I said, it's predictable. You know exactly what you will earn. And you can start with as little as 5,000 naira. And why 5,000 naira is because 5,000 is more like what you can easily use and go and drink beer if you're the type that drink beer, or what you can use to go and eat rice in Chicken Republic and even have change, right? So 5,000 naira is very little amount of money. So we are going to go to to bond. What is a bond? So a bond is a loan you give to the government or a company, and they promise to pay you back with interest. If you notice, fixed income and bond have similarity in definition. So it's more like you are the investor, you lend, let's say, 100,000 naira to the government or to a company, and they give you returns maybe every 3 or 6 months. And then when your agreed time, let's say you agreed 1 year or 2 year with them, after that agreed time, they pay you your money back as maturity. So it involves your original money invested. If you notice, when I talked about low risk, I told you that low risk means don't touch my principal, right? So that is what happens in bond. When I give you my principal, you pay me interest, and at the maturity date, you give me my principal back. At the end, I did not lose my capital or principal, unlike in stock. In stock, anything can happen to your shares. You can even lose all your capital. So I see stock as medium to high risk. Why fixed income in Nigeria is more like low to medium risk. But there is a but here. The but here is that low risk can give you low income, and high risk can give you high income. So before I continue, I want to make a disclaimer. I'm going to be mentioning some websites that I personally use or I recommend for some of these investments. And as I'm mentioning them, please go and do your own research, right? Don't do your own research before you invest or use any of them. I will share some of the challenges that some of them have as well as we continue. So we are going to be looking at the types of fixed income in Nigeria. So if you are a first-time investor in Nigeria, or you are just trying investment, I don't used to advise people to go to stock. I will advise you to start with this fixed income. Though some of these fixed income are not for beginners, but I mentioned them so that for knowledge's sake, you have knowledge of what is happening. It will shock you that a lot of Nigerians don't know that there is an investment the government give them every month that they can invest in, where they can borrow money to the government and get interest in return. A lot of Nigerians don't know that. And it will shock you to know that a lot of Nigerians abroad actually make more money from Nigeria through these investments than you that is living in Nigeria. So we have Nigerians abroad who use their money or a specific amount of money to invest in Nigeria and use their profits from the investment they've made in Nigeria to fund their black tax in Nigeria or the billings that they give them in Nigeria, which doesn't affect the kind of life they live abroad. And because of the type of inflation rate we have in Nigeria, you see that even investing in Nigeria will give them profit than investing in the countries where they are residing abroad. All right, let's talk about the type of fixed income in Nigeria. One of them is treasury bills. I'll go into more insight on each of these incomes. One of them is treasury bills, which usually over short term, which is short term between 91, 181, or 364 days, is issued by the CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria. Then we have the FGM bond. Then we have the FGN savings bond. They are not the same. I will explain later. Then when you talk about bond, and FGM bond, a lot of people always think that FGM bond is one. No, there are actually two. There is FGM bond and there is FGN savings bond. FGM bond is long term, while FGN savings bond is medium term. I'll throw more light later. Then we have the Sukuk bond, which is more like ethical bond for our Muslim brothers. Our Muslim brothers have principle that they don't believe in interest, so they believe more in profit sharing than interest. Then we have corporate bond, which is issued by companies like Dangote, MTN, which is slightly more risk. And we have the fixed income mutual fund, which is a pool of funds managed by experts. And you need little or no amount to enter there, and it's being managed by professionals. Then we also have other fixed income opportunities in Nigeria, One of them is commercial papers. I like commercial papers so much because if, let's say, I want to do oble in December and I want to start down to plan my oble. Commercial paper is one of the beautiful way to plan December spendings and oble, right? So it's also a short-term instrument that is issued by top companies in Nigeria. I'll throw more light on it later. We have bankers acceptance known as BA, is also another type of fixed income opportunities. Is a guaranteed payment instrument that is issued by a bank on behalf of a company using trade financing. Then we also have what we call promissory notes. Then we have certificate of deposit, more like fixed deposit. Hiro, please, can you mute your mic? Thank you. Then we have repurchase agreement, usually known as repos. We also have the money market fund, which is mutual fund, which I'll also throw more light on later on. So these instruments, they range from very safe to moderate risk, like corporate commercial papers are moderate risk and not even backed by the government at all. You're on your own if you invest in it. So where we always check for issuers' credit rating before we invest. So I'll be going into details now to talk about them one after the other. This slide will be converted to PDF and shared in the group after this presentation. So let's talk about federal government bond. So the citizens of Nigeria can actually lend money to the federal government. High net worth individuals, banks can even lend money to the government. So FGM bonds are those long-term debt instruments which is issued by the federal government of Nigeria. So when I talk about FGN, I'm talking about federal government of Nigeria to raise money for national development, maybe to build road, to execute a project. If you're a regular traveler like me, I have been to 31 states in Nigeria, and as I travel, I see a lot of road. They say built by Sukuk Fund, built by Sukuk Fund. These are just sample of those bonds where money is used for national development. And this bond is not for beginners, but you need to know for knowledge sake. It's usually for high network individuals and very high for institutional, though individuals still apply. And the return is usually between 11 to 15% annually. Sometimes it can be less. This is just a range. And it's also tradable in the secondary market and also tax-free. For example, like I remember I told you that low risk is where I get my capital back. Assuming I put 1 million naira for, let's say, 10 years or 20 years, they can be paying 15% per year, which is 150,000. And in FGM bond, they pay twice a year, every 6 months. And at the end of the whole bond, they will give me my 1 million naira back. That is what FGM bond is about. Like I said earlier, it's usually for high net worth individuals, but you need to at least know that such things exist. So now, the one I want to talk about now is the FGN savings bond. That is the one everybody should pay attention to. If you're following so far, can you give me a thumbs up if you're following so far? Thank you. Thank you very much for that feedback. Thank you very much. So let's talk about the FGN savings bond. It's also known as the people's investment. It is actually designed to make investing accessible for every Nigerian. Every Nigerian have rights to invest in FGN savings bond. It's not just the wealthy. And the minimum amount you need to invest in federal government savings bond is 5,000 naira. Now, FGN savings bond has 2 types of tenor, either 2 years or 3 years. That means if you subscribe for FGN savings bond in a month, you are going to be paid every quarter till 2 or 3 years, depending on the tenor that you choose. And it's usually between 16 to 17%. This is as of 2025. I use 2025 data in my presentations, reason being that 2026 have not ended and a lot is predictable in 2026. So I used the year that I've passed to tell you what happened in the previous year. So in 2025, FGN savings bond percentage rose as high as 17%. And those people who subscribed then, they are still in profit. Meanwhile, the last FGN savings bond that happened in March was around 13 to 14% per annum. So I want to explain how this works. This FGN savings bond it happens every single month, every month. The subscription comes out every month, and it comes out on the first Monday of the first week of the month. Let me repeat that. The subscription usually starts in the first Monday of the first week of every month. That is when you can subscribe for FGN savings bond, and it usually closes on the Friday of that same week. It just runs for 5 days, Monday to Friday, right? So if the month starts on a Sunday, like 1st March, I think it started on a Sunday. So FGN savings bond came out. Sometimes they can be late by 1 day or so. So it came out the next day, right? And FGN savings bond, if you invest, for example, 100,000 naira, and the rate is 16%, it means that they are going to pay you 16% of 100,000 naira, depending on the tenor you choose. Normally, the percentage for 2-year tenor is different from the percentage of 3 years tenor, right? And that percentage is what you are going to be paid every year. But so, for example, for 100,000 naira, you are going to be paid 16,000 naira every year, assuming the percentage rate is 16%. And that money will be divided and paid you every quarter, right? So every quarter means every 3 months, they will pay you 4,000 naira. That means they've divided that profit of 16,000 naira into 4 to pay you in every quarter of the year. And some people have actually used this to become a great source of income for them. Let me give you an example. Someone who subscribed at 17% last year, they'll be paying the person. They won't say, because interest rates have gone up or gone low, that they are not going to be paying you 14%. That is the current trend. No, they will still pay you based on that agreement you had with them at that 17% last year. Just like the way the percentage is currently at 13 to 14%. If by next 2 months, the percentage go high to 17%, you see that the people who bought at 14% will be at loss. Inflation will catch up with them. So the inflation rate determines how the percentage goes up or come down. Now, there's a technique where FGN savings bond actually pay people's salary every month. Let me tell you how. Assuming you have 30 million naira, and in January, you subscribe for FGN savings bond. In February, that's for if you have 30 million naira. For January, you subscribe for FGN savings bond. For February, you subscribe for FGN savings bond, and March of another 10 million. And for February and for March, you subscribe for another 10 million of FGN savings bond. You are going to be getting money every month. Every month is more like paying yourself salary every month till the end of that 3 tenors expires. So that is how a lot of people pay themselves salary, and at the end they get their capital back. The only challenge is that inflation might have caught up with their money and all that, because I don't advise people to keep money. In fact, since I got the knowledge of this low risk investment, I've stopped keeping money in the bank. And bankers may not like it, but then I discovered that saving money in the bank is actually not helping my money to grow. And since I started this low risk investment, I can sleep and wake up and I'm assured that my money is growing somewhere. So sometimes when people tell you that they sleep and money is growing, they actually put money in things like mutual fund, FGN savings bond. You do nothing. You don't do anything. In fact, this thing favors looters very well, but then looters, if they do this kind of money, they will track them. So another thing you need to, before you can invest in FGN savings bond, is that you need to have a CSCS number, right? CSCS number will be given to you once you register with any registered broker. They use it to track your investments at NGX and the rest. And then there are platforms where you can invest in this FGN savings bond. It's not every platform that they tell you that you can invest, that is where you can actually invest in FGN savings bond. Now, the platforms I know very well that do FGN savings bond is Afri Investor 2.0. They do it very well. I even did a video on my YouTube on how to invest in FGN savings bond in Afri Investor 2.0. Then Invest Niger. Invest Niger is owned by Chapel Hill Dinam. Invest Niger is owned by Chapel Hill Dinam. You can also do FGN savings bond there. You can also subscribe for FGN savings bond with Atlas Portfolio. Atlas Portfolio, though they talked about stock yesterday, but why I like them for stock is that they provide real-time price of stocks in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, right? You can also use Coronation Registrar to also subscribe for FGN savings bond and the rest of them. So because we have other fixed income to talk about, let's move on. So there's a major difference between FGN bond and FGN savings bond. I talked about it earlier on, but this table summarizes the differences. But in summary, FGN bond is a big boys investment. It's not for beginners. So what you should focus on as a beginner is FGN savings bond. That one is for every Nigerian investment. And you can also walk into the bank and some banks and tell them that you want to subscribe for FGN savings bond, and they will guide you. And it might also shock you that a lot of bankers don't know that this thing exists. But that's a story for another day. All right, let's continue. Let's talk about Treasury bill. Treasury bill is another financial instrument. So what is Treasury bill? Treasury bill, they are short-term government securities issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria and also used to manage money supplied considered risk, right? And FGN savings bond is short-term because they have 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. That's the period where you can actually invest. And CBN holds regular weekly or bi-weekly auctions of the FGN, of the Treasury bills, where banks and investors place bids. So returns is usually between 5% to 12% per year, and it's highly safe and also backed up by the federal government, and because it's owned by the government. And I think they've also added tax to it. Before it was tax-free, but I think they've added tax to it. I'm not very sure of that, but they recently added tax to some of these federal government-backed funds, which used to be formerly tax-free. So how do you invest in Treasury bill? Treasury bill work differently from bond. In bond, you receive monthly or quarterly interest payment, but in Treasury bill, they give you at a discount. If, for example, the percentage is 13% for 1 month or 2 months, they will give you 13% discount. So let's assume that the percentage is 10%, and you have to buy a 1 million naira worth of Treasury bills. Instead of paying 1 million, you are going to pay just 900,000 naira. And what that means is that at the end of your tenure, you will get your 1 million naira back without any monthly interest or whatever. So that is how Treasury bills work. And you can also, there's also called discounted value and face value. So you can either invest, pay the discounted value, which is 900,000, or pay the whole of 1 million, so that you get a little profit on top of. So what it means is that 100,000 naira that you are supposed to use as discount, you've put it back to, and interest will come out of there. There will be small interest from there as well. So now the problem people used to have here is that when they tell you 13% per annum, some people just calculate 13% times that money. But what they forget to calculate, to check, is that if they say per annum, if it is 90 days, do 90 over 360. That is 3 months, 3 over 12, to actually understand your real percentage, so that you won't feel that they cheated you. So that per annum is true only for people doing 364 or 365 days. Aside that, if you're doing 180 days, 180 days is like 6/12. You have to calculate 6/12 and divide it to know your actual money. And then treasury bill is very liquid, it's perfect for emergency fund, and it's short commitment period, and is also backed by the government, right? Are we following? If you're following, please, can I get a thumbs up to be sure that you are still following? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is commercial papers. I didn't tell you where you are going to get treasury bills if you want to buy treasury bills, right? After Investor 2.0 offer treasury bills, and they have minimum of 100,000 naira. The minimum is 100,000 naira before you can use After Investor 2.0 to buy treasury bills. Then, if you are using Blue Nest is owned by Stanbic IBTC. Blue Nest offer treasury bills, but the minimum amount to buy treasury bills on Blue Nest, owned by Stanbic IBTC, is 500,000 naira. Now, if you want to start with as little as you have, let's say you don't have up to 100,000 naira, you just want to try 10,000 naira, where you can do 10,000 naira is a platform called iInvest. iInvest platform is owned by Partian registrars. They are also registered with SEC, but to go and do your own due diligence before you invest. Then you can also walk into any bank and tell them you want to invest in treasury bills. If they are not, some of them are knowledgeable, they will also guide you through on how to invest. Now, the next one I want to talk about is commercial papers. So let me explain commercial paper. If Dangote, let me define it first. Commercial paper is a short-term unsecured promissory note issued by large credit-worthy companies to raise quick funds, usually for working capital needs. Let me use Dangote as an example for commercial paper. If Dangote wants to borrow money from the bank is likely going to give Dangote the money at an interest of 35 to 40%, right? And that money might be too big. The interest might be too big for Dangote. Dangote will now say, no, let me leave the bank and go and raise this money from the public and pay them maybe between 14% to 22, sometimes up to 23 to 24% per annum. So whenever I talk about per annum, they used to have 90 days, 181 days, 365 days, so that you remember that you divide it by 12 when you are doing your own maths to know exactly the amount you're expecting, right? So let me give you, so Dangote will now say, let me raise this money from the public. So Dangote raising this money from the public instead of collecting this money from the bank is what we call commercial papers. Commercial paper come out almost every week or every 2 weeks. There's always a commercial paper that is on. But I'll be honest with you, the problem is that many of these online platforms, in the olden days, you just go to the bank, go to the stockbroker and do your thing, buy commercial paper and go. But now the world has gone digital. You can do these things online, right? Many of them don't accept every commercial paper. They are selective in the kind of commercial paper they are going to put on their platform. So a commercial paper can be on, and you see it in Afri Investor 2.0, you won't see it in Blue Nest, owned by Stanbic, or you see it in Blue Nest, you won't see it in Afri Invest, right? So how does this work? It also works like a discount. There's a discount just like treasury bills. The only problem is that, the only challenge, not a problem, is that commercial paper is unsecured, is not backed by the government. It's a risk you take on your own, which makes it a medium to high risk, right? And it's usually issued by blue chip firms, banks, and telecoms, right? But then there's what we call credit rating, where this company that want to offer commercial papers are being rated by, we have Augusto rating, and we have Credit Pro rating. There are different types of people that rate them, but make sure that their rating is at least A+ or A before you invest in that commercial paper. So commercial paper, I see it as one of the ways to get predicted, dedicated money. Let me give you an example. If I want to make 1 million naira in December, I will look for a commercial paper in January that is trustworthy, that is at least offer up to 14 to 22%, up to 20% per annum, right? And if they offer more than 20%, to God be the glory. I will check their credit rating. If they are up to A plus credit rating, I will if I put like 5 million, I'm sure that by December, I'll get up to 1 million naira as interest. But remember that they are going to remove tax. Tax is 10% of your profit. So by the time they remove your tax, all the management fees and all that, the money might come down to maybe 998,000 naira. If it's above 20%, you might be sure of getting up to 1 million naira, which is a good money if you want to use it and do oblate for Christmas. It's a very good money. So both commercial papers and treasury bills are discount instruments, but commercial paper pay more. And that's why it is more risky, right? So the company that you are buying their commercial paper might decide to fail you. They can also decide to delay and all that. I use an example here. Let's say you subscribe for 182 days, right? Which is practically six months of the year for commercial paper. And you put 5 million naira. The interest you are going to get will be 200,000. But assuming that this is if the rate is at 16% at annualized, because you usually annualize per annum, is by the time you divide it by 12, 6 over 12, that you discover that the real percentage is actually 8.3. But assuming you are doing 365 days, you might actually get up to 16.6% of that money. So now, these commercial papers, where can you buy them? You can buy them in platforms like Meristem. Meristem, I register with Meristem, and they send me mails whenever a commercial paper is on. And for Meristem, the minimum you can use to buy commercial paper is 5 million naira. And one thing you can do is that you and your friends can come together, bring 1 million if you trust yourself, and use 5 million naira and do commercial paper for 1 year. December, all of you will share 200K and use it for your Christmas. It's something. And I want you to know that when we talk about some of these low risk investment, it's not for people it's not for greedy people. It's not a Ponzi scheme. It's not for greedy people. It's for people who believe in slow and steady. So over some months now, when I tell people about commercial paper and the profit, they think, the profit is too small. I know the funny thing, at the end, they'll leave that money in their bank account throughout the year and still make little or nothing. So any money you are not using, you are not using, go and put that money to work. How do you put that money to work? Put it in commercial paper, put it in mutual fund, put it in FGN savings fund, diversify it. Let your money be working while you are sleeping, right? So if you don't have up to, like I said, always do your research before you use any investment platform. If you don't have up to 5 million naira, there are platforms too, like Sycamore. I've talked about it in the S&P Finance Club. In fact, I currently use Sycamore to buy commercial paper at just 100,000 naira. That one, if you don't have up to 5 million naira for some platform, you can use Sycamore and buy at 100,000 naira. But remember to check credit rating. Remember to check, there are so many documents you need to check before you buy any commercial paper. There's a presentation they are supposed to make. They also present their financial statement. You look at all these things. Are they profitable? Have they been making profit over the years before they say they want money for commercial paper and all that? So you need to check all these things before you invest in commercial papers. I've talked about FGN savings bond, FGM bond, treasury bills, commercial paper. I've talked about 4 instruments now. So the next instrument I want to talk about is mutual fund. So I call mutual fund the kum of investment. I call it the basic of the basic. I call it where every beginner must start from. So mutual fund is not for greedy people. It's not for people who are looking for fast profits. And mutual fund, the beautiful thing about mutual fund especially the money market part of it, is that it compounds. And if you understand the principle of compounding interest, you see that mutual fund is actually beautiful. And from yesterday, in our class yesterday, if I can remember, Muki said something that Warren Buffett became wealthier at 60 years because he has been doing a lot of compounding interest over the years. So to tell you that age is not even a barrier. So what is mutual fund? So mutual fund is more like there is a basket. I bring money, Chisimde bring money, Seth bring money, each and every one of us bring money and put in the basket. And then a professional fund manager will now use all the money we've put together in a basket and use it to invest in bond, treasury bill, and other safe instruments that are low risk, and then give us our profits, which we can actually compound, right? So the way it works, you invest, the fund manager use this money to invest in treasury bills, FGN savings bond, commercial paper, and then return the interest back to you. And in mutual fund, you can even start with as little as 1,000 naira. It is professionally managed, and the returns also fluctuate. You can't really predict it. It can be 16, it's currently between 16 to 15% for some mutual fund. There are some mutual fund that paid up to 23% last year. If you follow Nairametrics very well, if you want to get the news of what is happening in the Nigerian financial sector, I want to encourage you to always follow Nairametrics. I don't know if I'm promoting them, but they've been helpful. They've been helpful to give me news on what is happening in the stock market. And I don't believe in hoarding knowledge, because we cannot die with all we know. We have to share and die empty, right? So mutual fund pays between 10 to 20%, depending on the fund type that you choose, right? And you can also subscribe for this mutual fund with Stanbic IBTC, ARM, Coronation Money Market, Meristem, and the rest of them. For me, I use Stanbic IBTC, Blue Nest in Stanbic IBTC. And I'll tell you the challenge they have. I feel that they need new tech people to manage their platform. Reason being that to open an account there can be quite difficult. So if you're not patient, you can't just go there and say you want to open an account in 10 minutes. It is highly secured. You can be doing something and they tell you that time is off. You should go and get another OTP before you can continue. It's that discipline. And if you deposit your money before 12, they might deposit it that day. If you deposit money after 12 p.m., just know that they'll deposit it the next working day. Next working day means if you deposit on Friday after 12 p.m., just know that it's on Monday that they'll fund your account, so that you don't start panicking. And that's why you only use money you can risk for some of these things. Don't use all your money and go and put in money market fund and you don't have money to go to work again. No, please, I beg you in the name of God, don't go and put all your money. Have an emergency fund, right, that you can use for running around. I know somebody that carried all his money. He said, and go and bought MTN shares when MTN did IPO in 2021. And the next month he was like, Chinoso, I don't have money again. No, how can I sell my shares? I'm like, this is IPO. They will take time to even allocate the shares to your account. You now found out that the person used all her savings to go and do IPO. Please, I beg you in the name of God. It can be frustrating when you use all your money. You don't have the one you can use money that you have saved, you know you are not using for that moment. That is what you will invest. I beg you in the name of God. Don't use the money for your house rent and go and put, and when the landlord starts disturbing you, it's not yet time for you to get that money. And that's why I recommend mutual fund very well. Even for saving house rent, I recommend mutual fund because the money compounds. It compounds. In fact, I personally use mutual funds to pay my house rent, right? Just put money there, particular money every month, it compounds. When it's time to pay your house rent, you just withdraw and pay the money. And that's why you should not live in a place that is above your means, so that you not be an enemy to your landlord. Live where you can actually afford, right? So let's continue. When we talk about mutual fund, there are different types of mutual fund. The money market that most people do is just one side of mutual fund. So we have the money market fund, which is the most liquid. We have the bond fund. That one, they normally use bonds to fund that one. We have the fixed income fund. That one, they combine bonds, treasury bills, and commercial papers. It's actually popular. And we have the sukuk and ethical fund. In Muslim, we call it halal. You know, there's halal and there's haram. Haram means is not good. Halal means is good. So it's also Sharia compliant, where there's no interest. They do profit sharing model. We also have the green and euros and state funds. We also have the euro bond and dollar bond. All these things are, so for someone that is saving money in domiciliary account, for me, instead of just leaving that money in the domiciliary account, you can use it to put in dollar fund, which means that dollar can actually generate money for you if you are not using that money or will not need that money quick. But if it's something like an emergency fund, you can actually leave it in money market fund, where any day you can just go and withdraw your money. But if you're using money market fund like Stanbic IBTC, you cannot withdraw your money till after 30 days before you can withdraw your money. If you withdraw before 30 days, they might remove some part of your profits before they pay you. There are consequences for withdrawing money earlier than when you're supposed to withdraw money, just the way PiggyVest does, right? So I would advise you, instead of putting money in savings account that you know you're not going to use for like 6 months, 1 year, go and put it in mutual fund, where that money can grow, easily. So mutual fund also have their own risks, right? Like yesterday, Muki talked about equity fund. Equity fund is a type of mutual fund where they use that money to invest only in stocks. Let me give you a practical example. I did that particular equity fund because equity fund, your profit can rise, and your profit can also come down. And if you're not somebody that understands your risk level, if the profit comes down, you might have high blood pressure. I'm telling you, the way the equity mutual fund works, right? So we have the mutual fund for low risk, mutual fund for medium risk, and then we have a mutual fund for high risk. So the mutual fund for low risk people is the money market fund. So fixed income fund is for moderate risk, and equity fund, I didn't talk about equity fund here, but it exists, is for high risk. So how do you participate in mutual fund or platforms where you can do mutual fund? You can do mutual fund in Stanbic IBTC Blue Nest. You can do mutual fund in Cowrywise. You can do mutual fund in Afri Invest. So Afri Invest mutual fund does not happen on Afri Investor 2.0. It happens in another app called Plutus Neo. Used to be Optimus, but now called Plutus Neo. So that Plutus Neo, if you want to do Afri Invest equity fund for mutual fund, that is where you can invest. And then if you also want to buy US stocks, apart from Bamboo, if you're not satisfied with Bamboo or their management fees, you can also try Plutus Neo, owned by Afri Invest. So Afri Investor 2.0 is just for buying stock, buying treasury bills, buying commercial paper, and buying FDN savings bond. But if you want to do the mutual fund that is managed by Afri Invest, including the low risk mutual fund and the equity mutual fund, you need to use their other app called Plutus Neo, right? Now, there are risks you need to know. Returns fluctuate with interest rate. So interest rate is not fixed. Like, for example, interest rate was 15% in January for mutual fund for Stanbic. It later went to 16. There was a time it was 17. There was a time it was 18% last year, right? It fluctuates, but on an average, before the year end, you are likely going to get between 18 to 20% of your money, right? and your money compounds as well. That's the beautiful thing about the money markets. Your money compounds every day, right? And every platform have their period of payment. Like Stanbic Investments, your money compounds daily, but in Invest Niger, I think you're paid every 3 months. I think it's every 3 months that they now add your interest. While in Cowry Wise, it's every quarter that they now add your interest. It doesn't happen every day like Stanbic IBTC, which is why I usually recommend Stanbic IBTC Mutual Fund. If I'm wrong, anybody can correct me on that as well. All right, so early redemption may attract exit charges. I've mentioned that. And then when you are choosing a fund manager for your mutual fund, choose people that are registered with SEC and NGX. Muki mentioned it yesterday. You know, his presentation yesterday was like a background for what I was going to talk today. So make sure they are registered with SEC. There is a Ponzi scheme that is currently going on in Nigeria now. I won't mention name, but it's with a popular celebrity and all. So people asked me, should they invest in that place? They call it invest. I just asked them one question. Are they registered with SEC? No. Are they registered with NGX? No. So why should you invest there? It's a Ponzi scheme, and if I say it in Igbo, okay, maybe from Nanya, when it happens, in Igbo they say adogi vam vam vam. They will just drag you. They will just drag you when the Ponzi scheme will reach its saturation state. So if anybody tells you that there's an investment that is going on, ask them one question, or even you yourself, go and check. Is this thing registered with SEC? Is it registered with NGS? There's one they call Glory Investment that was trending last year as well. So one of my students told me about it. I just told him this thing is very simple. Go to SEC website, sec.gov.ng, ngs.gov.ng. Go and check. You see that they are not there. And if they are not there, you don't have any reason to invest in such places. So, and your returns are not also guaranteed in mutual fund. They are target rates and not promises. In fact, one of the things they will tell you in mutual fund is today's return does not guarantee tomorrow's return. It's the golden rule in mutual fund. Today's interest does not guarantee tomorrow's interest. So how can you start? You can start with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC is called Blue Nest. So if you are going to use Stanbic IBTC, you go and type bluenest.stanbicibtc.com.ng.com. I think that's their website. Then you need to put your BVN, you need to put your NIN. Some people are scared of putting their NIN in some of these places, but then we are in Nigeria where NIN determines a lot these days. Then you can also select the type you want. You want to do money market, you want to do bond funding or fixed income. So one thing about mutual fund is that they are the easiest fund to start with. Lowest barrier for any Nigerian to start investing. Even with 1,000 naira, you can start, right? And you don't lose your capital in mutual fund. Your capital is intact. Your capital is intact. We are about concluding, so that we can ask our questions. So I want to talk about returns comparison. This is 2025 data. If you had saved your money in mutual fund, in savings account in 2025, the interest you got from the bank is just basically 2 to 4%. I want to say here that a lot of Nigerians don't even know the difference between current account and savings account. If you have money in savings account in a Nigerian bank, you're not supposed to touch that money up to 3 times in a month. Yes, because if you touch that money up to 3 times in a month, they won't pay you your interest for that month. So if you call it a savings account, it means it's for savings. It's current account that is meant for daily expenses and the rest. So you see people, they'll keep 1 million naira in the bank and they can withdraw 10,000 for OPay, 10,000 from POS today. Then withdraw another 10,000 tomorrow. And at the end, the bank don't give you interest. And you'll be like, they're not even giving me interest on this money because you are spending from that money every day. So how do you do this thing? You can divide that money into 3, maybe put 800,000 naira or 500,000 naira where you are not going to touch it because you know there's no way you spend and spend. That is if you want to do savings. Well, I'll recommend mutual fund. But if you want to do savings, right, I'll say separate that money. You know you're not going to spend up to 500,000 naira in a month. Why not just remove what you need and leave the rest, right? And that way, your savings accounts can give you at least between 2 to 4% per annum. And if you look at the charts from this 2025 data, you see that this is the savings account is the lowest way you can make money. Treasury bill paid between 5 to 12% per annum last year. Fixed deposits in the bank paid between 7% to 12% per annum. Mutual fund, including fixed income mutual fund, paid between 10 to 16% last year. FGM bond paid between 11 to 15% last year. Meanwhile, know that some mutual fund paid up to 20% last year, right? It's not every mutual fund. This one is on average, right? But FGM savings bond, last year, as of 2025, it favored most of the investors, even more than some stock last year. FGM savings bond favored some people, a lot of people last year. Then Sukuk bond too paid between 11 to 16% per annum. So why are you choosing fixed income? Why do you have to choose fixed income? Why do you have to do mutual fund? One, it has low risk. Most of them are backed up by the Nigerian government, which is among the safest instruments. And then your income is predictable. You know exactly how much you earn, which is perfect for budgeting. That's why I used 5 million to get 1 million naira in December for Oble, for commercial paper as an example. It's predictable income. It is better than savings. You earn 4 to 10 times more than a typical bank savings account. And what people don't know here is that this does not just happen to just your personal life. It can also happen to your business, right? If you are into businesses where you don't use all your profit to go and, if you are not into buying and selling, where you do a lot of restocking, if you are the type that do services as a business, right, you can also invest profit from your business in such a way that your business money is making money while you sleep, which is profitable to the business, right? So that's the topic for another day. Then fixed income are beginner friendly. You can start with as little as 5,000 naira, and it's passive income. I said it more than 3 times in this class that money works for you while you sleep, while you eat, and while you go about your daily life. Your money works for you. Then fixed income can also help you to plan for school fees, rent, wedding, or any future financial goal. So one of the mistakes I made when I was planning for wedding was I wasn't well grounded in this fixed income. So when I was planning, I started planning for wedding before I met my wife. I started planning for wedding 2017, 2018. I've not even met my wife. Then I used to save 1,000 naira every day. I was actually using piggy vest, which is still okay. But if I had known what I know now, those money I generated them from the savings, I would have put them in mutual fund to generate more money for me to plan for wedding. I don't believe that when you're planning for an event, you start begging people for money, or you force people to be in WhatsApp group and then try to use psychology to make them give you money when you know you're not really ready. If you're not ready, go and do the one your money can carry, okay? Just to digress a little bit. If you don't have money, go and do no reception. A lot of people did it and their marriage are successful. We don't care. When we eat food in the wedding, we forget about how much the food we eat. It's via your wife that will face the reality in marriage. Honestly, recently a man used 25 million naira for wedding and is bankrupt. He used all his savings, 25 million naira for wedding, and then he's asking his friend for 10,000 naira. The news trended. You see, if I'm the one that had that 25 million naira, that money will make more money, and I'll still do that wedding. In fact, I can even use profits from that 25 million and do the wedding. So these are because people are not financially aware, which is an opportunity you have today that a lot of people don't have, which is what S&P Finance Club is making you know for free. If you are to attend an executive class where we teach all these things, you are going to pay heavily. I know some platforms that collect as much as 150,000 to teach everything, just everything we are teaching today alone. So that's for you to value what you're learning and take it serious. All right, let's continue. You know, when we talk about low risk, we said that we don't lose our capital. But then there is another risk, right? There are risks you need to know. Low risk is not zero risk. There is still risk there, just that the risk is low. So, and being informed about this risk will help you to invest smartly, right? Please give me 1 minute. Okay, I'll conclude fast. So that I wanted to just drink water and continue, but let me just finish up. I'm almost done. All right, so what are those risks? Inflation risk, interest rate risk, liquidity risk. So you need to choose financial instruments with returns above the current inflation rate. In fact, there is a statistic that shows that even FGN savings bond did not beat inflation. Inflation rate still surpassed the rate of FGN savings bond in 2025 alone. So it only helps you to even catch up with the inflation. But the worst is putting that money in savings account is the worst of it all, because inflation will the height for savings can be here, and inflation is very, very high. So that's why I don't advise people to save money alone in the bank. Put that money to work. Recently, I lost my wallet and I had about some ATM card inside, and somebody were like, "Are you not scared that they'll take your money?" I told the person, "There's no money in the account. So whoever is carrying the ATM card is at loss. There's no money in that account. Nothing. You can't even see up to 100K in that account." So because every money is working somewhere, right? So a gentle reminder is that these low investments are still among the safest investments in Nigeria. Some people are pro stock, but it's still safer than crypto, it's still safer than stocks, and it's still safer than forex trading. So how do you start investing in Nigeria? You can start with your bank, via your stockbroker, online platforms, directly with DMO. DMO is Debt Management Office. That is where they announce the monthly FGN savings bond. So I did a real life example here. Chinedu is a 28-year banker in Lagos. He has 1 million naira in his savings, and he wants safe returns while keeping his capital. Chinedu don't want to lose his capital. So what will Chinedu do? Chinedu can invest 9%, or you can invest about 30% of that money in treasury bills. 40% is FGN savings bond, 20% in FGM bond, but that 20% can still go to stock, mutual fund. I forgot to add mutual fund here. And with that 1 million, Chinedu will make up to 129,000 naira per annum with that 1 million, and which is over 10,750 naira per single month, doing nothing. What somebody will say, is it not too small? But the truth is, it's still better than that money lying in your savings account. So what is the smart investment strategy? If you have emergency fund, if your goal is emergency fund, you can do treasury bills, which can give you quick access within 3 months, you get your money out. And if your goal is emergency fund, you can also do mutual fund. Then, if your goal is quarterly income, you can do FGN savings bond so that they'll be paying you every 3 months. If your goal is to save for 1 year, you can do commercial paper. I forgot to add it here, but you can also do treasury bill, but I would recommend commercial paper. But commercial paper is riskier than treasury bill, but commercial paper will pay you more than treasury bill. Then, if you are doing ethical investing, you are a Muslim, you can do sukuk and green bond, where you can get halal returns and support Nigeria development as well. Then if you're also looking at long-term wealth, as a beginner, you can do FGM bond. Long-term wealth will bring us back to yesterday's class, where Muki talked about stocks, business, and real estate, but mostly stock. Then if you want to now have a balanced portfolio, you have to diversify your money in all of them. For me, I do most of them, not all, so that the money is well diversified. Smart investors do not just chase high returns, they protect their money first. And that's why you need to start from low risk, where your capital is secured. If you're like me that lost that 5 million in 2020, if I remember, it is still a pain me, make I no lie. you still they pay me because I know what 5 million would have grown into between 2020 and now. You should start and do only investments that will protect your capital first before you grow to low, medium risk, and high risk. So we are concluding. This is my last slide. And in my last slide, I want to just give us some takeaway from all I've said. Fixed income will give you steady, predictable return with low risk. Treasury bills is for short term, you buy at discount. FGN savings bond, every Nigerian investment from just 5,000 naira. Sukuk bond is a good Islamic finance option backed by real assets, not just interest. Then we have fixed income mutual funds where you put money together and a professional manages the money. And you can start today, either through your bank or any of the investment app or through dmo.gov.ng. So in Nigeria, the safest way to grow your money is through stable systems like fixed income. Start smart, save, and invest today. That being said, thank you very much. Dalu Nagode Eshe. Thank you.
Chisimdia, over to you.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just waiting for everybody to finish clapping their hands.
Yeah. Well, give me a few more seconds. Let me clap more.
Honestly, this is a well-deposited section,
Yeah.
well deposited. Chimex is who he said he is. Chimex, keep your video on, please. Keep your video on. All right. This is wonderful. Make it rain. Make it rain. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chinonso Simon Chime. This is well deposited. I actually love this section for its practicality, because it's coming from someone whom live by his words, that is what makes it even very unique and interesting. Someone who has done it, who has explored the different options in investing in fixed income instruments, that it makes it more relatable. It makes it look like something that is localized, that is within reach, for an average person. That is why I am so overjoyed. And Seb, you can attest to this. You can attest to this in your own words. Maybe I'm lacking the words. Can you help me out, Seb? Seb, can you help me out?
Well, the presentation was what I would say is there's a very stark difference between someone like myself that understands the theory, and someone like Chimex that does the practice. Not like I don't do practice, not like I don't invest. So, I don't want to sound over modest, but I mean, you can see from everything, all the examples he gave, the way he started the presentation, everything he said, what the key point, the objectives of the session, the delivery. You just know everything is coming from experience and lived experience, which is exactly what we need. And the other thing that is worth mentioning is how if we should, do some form of what's it called, to mine the data of all the conversations that happen in the S&P Finance page, you would notice that, let's say, the majority of them are based on stocks. People are very keen to understand what the stock market is all about. Not like it's not a good thing to do, but we've rarely had such a detailed conversation about the other part of investment assets. asset classes, rather, investment ventures like the low risk, the fixed incomes, the FGN savings bonds, all of those ones, because there are different kinds of investors, right, with different risk profiles. So it's very important that we provide these options and alternatives for people like, I think Jennifer says she has about 40 years to retirement. People like us that are very close to retirement that have very low risk tolerance and risk appetite. So I think this is a very important alternative for us to explore. So I'm very happy it was well deposited. And you mentioned something about the order of the session. It
Yeah.
came after Mukhtar's session yesterday. Mukhtar was also very fantastic, telling us everything he needed to tell us about investment, about businesses, about the stock market. And I think he mentioned a couple of times when he was tempted to discuss in detail about risks and returns. He was like, Chimex would cover this tomorrow. Chimex would cover this tomorrow. And I was particularly anticipating, and I'm very happy that has been very dealt with tonight. So I'm glad. And I'm a bit experienced in this field and I'm this happy. So I don't know about other people that may not really be playing in the finance sector, like Mukhtar and myself. I believe they would also find value. The other thing I didn't mention is the technicalities, right? He found a way to make some of those things that should ordinarily be too technical for a beginner to be less technical, so I would want to assume that a beginner should know exactly where to start now after attending this session, so I'm happy. And this is what he mentioned about how people can pay for these things. But I believe knowledge is everywhere. It's just about finding where you can access it and finding the right people to help you learn these things in the manner that you can retain the knowledge and put the knowledge into practice. There are things, investment materials. You can find them on Google, even AI now with just a simple prompt. You can find these things on YouTube, but to find someone that can personalize learning and tailor it to different audiences
Audience.
is rare. So yeah, I'm happy. So thank you very much. I think we will need to go to the questions, the Q&A session, because we don't have much time now.
Yeah.
Over to you, Cindy.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. Thank you. This is a very wonderful section, like he pointed out. I just love Chimek's practicality. One of the things that makes it like I seem to be more elated about this section is because I know how we started. And that is always my advice. If you are on ground zero, if you are just starting as a beginner in terms of building your personal finance, the first thing you need to do is to engineer your first more. You need to engineer your first more. And fixed income instrument is a place where you can use to engineer your first more. Don't be too quick to explore different risk options, like probably stocks, all those risky investment like cryptocurrencies. Just first of all, build a base, like your first more, and then from there, gradually, you can start taking risk, engaging in other risky assets. So this is why this part is very, very interesting. So this is Q&A section. I think one person have raised his hand up. Mr. Anthony Chinonso, please, if you're happy, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions or your comment. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm being heard.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you, Chinonso, for this wonderful presentation. I want to point out about your data in treasury bills. Between last year and this year, it's not been 5 to 12%. Actually, it's been more. Because I think the interest in the fixed income market is dependent on the Central Bank of Nigerian's MPR, that is monetary policy rate, yes. So because of inflation, it's been high, and that is why most across all of them, commercial paper, bonds, treasury bills, mutual fund, all of them has been high too. Okay, so treasury bill, I have a treasury bill now that I bought around 17% last year. So it's been more than 12%. Even at this moment, it's been more than 12%. And then my question is, I want to understand this about the ethical funds. If they don't take the interest, what exactly do they use the interest for? Okay.
Okay, I asked my Muslim friend that question, and he told me that what they do with that money is that they use it for real estate, where they just get profit, not interest. They just use that money for what will give them profit, and then that profit is now shared based on what everybody have actually contributed. If you're trading with Mary Stem, for example, you will see that they have a particular section for halal fund. That means there are stocks. It's not every stocks that a Muslim can even buy. Do you understand? Like
Yeah, yeah.
they can buy stocks in places like Jaiz Bank easily. They are allowed to buy stocks in places like Jaiz Bank. And even you as a Christian who is not a Muslim can actually invest in any of those halal form. But this is where their faith directs to. They don't do interest, they do just profit. So they only use that money to invest in something that will only generate profit and not interest. I don't know if I explained it well. Another
Yes,
person
yes.
can throw more light.
All right, Mr. Anthony, are you happy with that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're still on in the Q&A section. Please, if you have any comments, anything you would want to highlight,
Yeah, someone asked a
please.
question in the group.
Okay.
Emmanuel, let me just answer. He said, "Thank you very much for the presentation. The question is, what resources, books, courses, newsletter will you recommend for beginners? What mistake have you seen beginners make repeatedly in fixed income investing?" All right. I can tell you boldly that if you go to YouTube, there are lots of videos, right, that can teach you some of these things. But there's what it means to learn from someone who have experience, right? The hours you must have spent learning almost all the 8 financial instruments that we talked about on YouTube. We learned it just in 1 hour. That is what someone who have experience does for you. So for resources, I would advise you to, some of us have courses. I have a course on all these things I taught. I have a course. I even sell it for 6,500, but not to advertise it here. S&P Finance is where we learn a lot for free, right? So you can continue to be in S&P Finance Club, ask your questions. That place you learn for free. If you meet me personally, you have to pay 6,500 to get all my videos. I have a lot of videos. I have some free ones on my YouTube page as well. Then coming to what mistakes have you seen beginners make repeatedly? The mistake that I've seen beginners make is not starting. Is a very big mistake. They are waiting for a perfect time, and there is no perfect time. The best time to invest was yesterday. The next best time is today. Not starting is the biggest mistake. And another mistake that they make is that they are coming from a Ponzi scheme perspective. A lot of Nigerians still have Ponzi scheme mindset. So, and to remove that Ponzi scheme mindset, it's sometimes you might need deliverance, spiritual deliverance to remove it, because when we are talking about fixed income in finance, you keep saying interest is small. That is how Ponzi scheme mindset people talk, and it's a mistake for them. They don't believe in growing wealth gradually. They don't believe they are just looking for that fast way. They'll tell, if you tell them that you make 20% per annum, they are calculating it per month for you. And you are telling them per annum, then they are telling you it should be coming monthly. Why is it not coming monthly? In fact, they will even question the status quo. But then there is no fast way to make money. It's better to start than not starting. And even if it's 1 naira or 2 naira, the beautiful thing about this investment is that you are getting yourself ready for the big money. So when the big money comes, you don't need to start thinking, where will I even put my money? Because you already have a knowledge of how to spread the money. If you meet me 5 years ago and give me 100 million, I might squander it down. But right now, if you give me 100 million, I swear I can invest it tomorrow and you not have any change. Why? Because I've already understand how things, this money work very well. And a lot of people also have politicians' mindset to loot money. So they are already used to money that is being looted. So this kind of thing is not for them. If you have politician mindset, because politicians are looters and they make money fast by looting money. But here, there's no way you can loot money. Your money has to grow. And you need to know that money and time works hand in hand. Money and time works hand in hand. So for you to make money, you need to give yourself time. That's why when somebody tell you that they wake up tomorrow and they're already rich, you need to question their wealth. Don't allow it to get into you. You don't know what they have done to make money. The real money, it actually takes time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Max. So, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, if you're a looter, avoid S&P Finance Club, because we are not in support of any looting mechanism.
No, at all. None at all.
Yeah, that's why at the beginning I laid emphasis to sustainable investing. That is our watchword. How you can invest sustainably, which means how you can invest and also protect your capital in return. Do you understand? So guys, this is not a looting platform. I've shared our S&P Finance blog, the link on the charts. So you guys can as well click on the link and see some of the available materials we have on there. We also have a YouTube channel, which I'm going to share with us. At the end of this section, we're going to download the video and look at the quality of the video and then upload it on our YouTube channel. So it gives you opportunity to access all materials and all webinars that we have had in previous time. This can actually help you to gain more knowledge or experience regarding investing. Some other place you can look at is Nairametrics, the website Nairametrics. I'm going to share it on the chat. So you can look at the website. It has so many things. If you are someone who is interested in building your personal finance skills, getting to know a lot of things about investing, even in bonds, treasury bills, and the rest of them, it has so many things. So you can look at it and get some up-to-date information regarding investment. Another place is ProShare. I will also share the website right now, so you can look at ProShare as well, the website, so you can see information regarding investment, corporate bonds, commercial papers, and what have you. So I will also encourage us to look at books, some interesting books that will open your mind on the possibilities of investing. One of the popular books is The Smart Money Woman. Smart Money Woman, they talked a lot of things about investing towards the end of the book. Or the second version, The Smart Money Tribe. There's a whole lot of book. The one by Benjamin Graham, The Intelligent Investor, is also an important book for anyone who wants to learn about investing. So please, we are still open for more comments and questions, okay? We're still open for more comments or questions. Anthony, are you still raising your hand? Or, yeah, if you are, please unmute yourself.
No.
Guys, any more questions? Any more comments?
Yes, please. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Okay, I've been listening. We will be getting the slide for this for tonight?
Of course.
Okay. I really like to understand the difference between the federal government bond and the investment bond. Yes, I really want to understand the difference more. Understand a bit. I want to understand it more. Thank you very much.
Do you mean just to be a bit clear, do you mean federal government savings bond and the treasury bills?
No. Federal government savings bond and the
Federal government bond.
federal government bond, yes. Both of
Okay,
them, they're
FGN
different.
bond. Okay.
All right, is in the slide. I'll share it, and I also have a dedicated video on that. I'll also share the link now in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chimex, please, can you just take like 30 seconds to explain the difference? I know she's going to get the slide as well. Just 30 seconds, because that brush up will help.
Okay, let me just share again. Let me just share again the slide that talks on that. Let me just share that again. Just give me time. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. So this is the major difference between FGM savings bond and federal government bonds. So FGM bonds is meant majorly for institutions and the wealthy people, while FGM savings bond is meant for everyday Nigerian. The minimum amount to invest in FGM bond is usually 50 million and above, or through the auction in the primary market. While for FGM savings bond, you need just 5,000 naira to do that. Then for FGM savings bond alone is between 5 to 30 years. Can you leave your money for 30 years with the government, even if you have up to 15 million? Then FGM savings bond is 2 to 3 years. Then interest in FGM savings bond is paid every 6 months, while for FGM savings bond is paid every 3 months. FGM bonds is bought through the banks or primary dealers, while FGM savings bond is monthly. And FGM bonds can be traded in the market, while FGM savings bond cannot be traded. Once you buy it, you bought it till the 2 years or 3 years expire. That's why you need to use emergency fund and not money you are not using all your capital to do it. Then in summary, then the returns on FGM bond is usually between 11 to 15% per annum. It differs. It depends on the market, status of the market, interest rates at the moment. While for FGM savings bond for 2025 is between 16 and 17%. Then in summary, I said that FGM bond is for the big boys, and FGM savings bond is for every Nigerian investment. Then another thing I want to add here is that all those money that they put in pension fund, let's say Crusader pension, they use all that money and invest. For some of us that have more 30 years to retire, they can carry the money and do FGM bond, right? So all those pension people, because if you are receiving pension, you notice that there are profits that come to your pension too. So the profits they make from some of these things, they also add it for you on your pension if they collect their management fee. So they use this FGM bond is where most pension people put their money. They also do treasury bills, they also do commercial paper, they also do FGM savings bond as well. And as you age, they also change the pattern where they are putting your money. So people that are 50, 60 years, they don't put their money in things like FGM bond. For some, but these new workers that are 20, 30 years, now FGM bond, they use their money do, and other investments, you understand? So I don't know if it's really explainable now.
It's enlightening. Thank you. Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chimex. Thank you for your time, everyone. I've shared the link for our blog, the S&P Finance Club blog. So we have so many information on there. If you are new, you might want to explore the information we have on there. We have also YouTube channel. I've equally shared our YouTube channel. So please follow, like, and subscribe to all our videos, okay? I shared also a website, ProShare, where you get information regarding the Nigerian fixed income and equity market. A whole lot of information. You know, there's a lot to explore from the website. And then one of the popular ones is Nairametrics. Most of us do know about Nairametrics. they have a whole lot of resources that you can access. You can even use some of the drop down menu and explore options in different asset classes like fixed income, equity, commodities, and the rest of them. So please just click on the link or copy the link to your WhatsApp and explore these options, study them, and it will help you to improve your financial literacy skills. So it's been a wonderful night. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I don't know. Anthony, please, can you mute yourself? All right. So, Sep, if you are happy, I will go ahead and bring this class to a close if you're happy.
Yeah, I'm a happy man. I'm always happy. But I just want to add something that I did yesterday during Mukhtar's class.
Okay.
And that is to give us a call to action for anyone that is yet to test the waters. If you're pondering and thinking if this investment thing is right for me, if I'm up to it, I have the money, I have the resources, if I have the mind, I have the knowledge. What I would just say is keep learning, but take an action today, tomorrow. Again, I don't know what our investable capacities are across the board, all the people on this call. But I would want to make a risky assumption, and that is at least we can afford 5,000 naira. So by the 1st of April, the next FGN savings bond would be out, will be open. So even if that would be your very first attempt to test the waters, just use 5,000 naira and invest in the FGN savings bond and just have a feeling of what it looks like to invest, right? That's how you build momentum. That's how you build knowledge. And once you start, you see yourself doing more and more. And as where your money is, that's where your heart is. That's where you want to pay attention to what's happening. So I think that's just the best way to go about it. And if you're also, Chimex mentioned all the challenges that beginners usually have. And just to corroborate one of the points he made, if you're also one of those people that would think, well, I would have to make 100 million before I can invest. I would need to eat first before I can invest, right? Or I would need to take care of myself first before I can invest. That's a valid argument from a certain perspective. From another perspective, the way I like to do my thing is I always like to hack my mind and say, if I should be presented with a worst case scenario that I earn 50,000 naira now and something happens and I no longer earn 50,000, what I earn is 40,000 naira, would I be able to survive? If I ask myself that question and I think I may be able to survive, I just take that extra 10,000 naira that I would stop earning and put it to use, into investment. So that's one of the ways you can start. So you may not be in a better position to have a lot of investable funds, or money you've saved, or your emergency funds, which all of these things should come before investing anyway. But if you have any amount of money that you can just use to start to test the waters, I want to encourage you to do that and keep learning. And hopefully we're going to build this wealth together. And thank you all very much for joining tonight. And thank you, Chimex, for your time and your knowledge.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, Sep has actually done justice to what I wanted to add at the end of this section. Yeah, we all have to start from somewhere, and then the best time to start is now. So is always about starting with what you have from where you are towards attaining financial freedom. So it depends on what you define financial freedom as. For some people, it's just to make few cash, be comfortable. For some people, it's just to become like Dangote or Tony Elumelu and the rest. So just give us your own definition. There's no right or wrong answer as regarding to what financial freedom means to you. But if you are like me, who wants to actually, build a sustainable investment, then there is a way you can approach it, and that way is what Chimex has actually told us or shared with us today in a more elaborate form. So I would encourage you to start from where you are with what you have. That is what S&P Finance Club stands for. That's what we represent. We represent democratizing personal finance for Nigerians and Africans. And I love this platform so much. I cherish this platform for what we've been able to achieve so far. And I'm hopeful that we're going to achieve great things in future towards making sure that everyone knows where to invest and how to invest and knows that they can start from where they are. I remember many years ago, I was just curious. I first heard about Stanbic IBTC Mutual Fund from a friend, and I was just curious. So I walked into Stanbic IBTC Bank branch in Enugu. It's around CBN area in Enugu. So I walked into the branch and I asked them about the mutual fund, and they gave me the form. And then when I saw the form, the minimum investment was 5,000 there. So I wanted to give it a push, and that's how I started using the Stanbic IBTC Mutual Fund investment platform. So I just gave it a push. Of course, I wasn't rich, but I wasn't too poor that I couldn't afford 5,000 naira. And many of us knows that yeah, many of us can cough out 5,000 naira to start to try these things. At the beginning, the interest might not make sense to you, but once you build confidence and a bit of consistency over time, you begin to accumulate more money. Your money begins to compound every now and then. So what you basically need in all these things is the confidence and the consistency to always continue to invest your money in some of these platforms. So it might be very worthwhile. You use the call to action that's been explained by Mr. Joseph to begin investing. So once again, I'm grateful, for your time. Thank you so much, Chimex, for being willing to share your knowledge. It's worthy of note that we don't pay any of our resource person anything to share this knowledge with us. And most times it's the knowledge they actually, gained by investing in themselves. Some people do courses online that they are paid for. I know how much I paid to do corporate finance course in a fixed income investment and even equity investment. I know how much I paid personally. But I love it when people are always willing to share knowledge, always willing to extend helping hand to people. So please, wherever you see them, if you meet them on the road or anywhere, please tell them thank you, because they are doing a very wonderful job. We're always interested in the individuals who have this knowledge and are willing to share with others. That's what the S&P Finance platform represents. It's not a platform where few people come to speak gibberish or English every day talking about investment. It's a platform where we welcome ideas, resources, suggestions, comments from all and sundry. Whether you think you are just starting, there is no knowledge that is not worthwhile. So if you have any knowledge and at any point in time you are willing to share, always reach out to any member of the admin, or you can go ahead and share it on the platform. Yeah. Someone asked about how to join the platform. Sep, are you able to fetch the link for me and share on the chat, please?
Let me do that, Sep.
Thank you. Thank you. So, guys, we're always open to welcome anyone who wants to share any particular knowledge with us, because I know that even though we might think these things are free, they are not entirely free, because people give a whole lot to be able to share this. So Sep has shared the link to the WhatsApp platform. Please take a few minutes to join the platform. We'll be happy to welcome you there. If you have any questions or you encounter any challenge in the course of maybe engaging this call to action, you can ask those questions on the group. There are resource persons who are always willing to offer help or advice or answer your questions whenever necessary. So we are grateful to everyone, all our members who give their time, who have given their money, who have given their wealth of knowledge, experience, and resources towards democratizing personal finance, towards this S&P Finance vision. We are always grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope to see you guys next month, because we have topics lined up from now till October, that we're going to enjoy. We want to win together. We don't want to win alone. That's why we're always willing to engage. We're always willing to engage industry professionals on our platform to extend their knowledge, to all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Mukta. Mukta was the resource person for yesterday. He did a great job, did a wonderful job. Thank you to our founder, the vision bearer, Mr. Joseph Ugu, yeah, aka Oga Seb, my Oga. Thank you so much for all you do. We are very grateful. Thank you for our IT, the coordinator of our IT section, Chika Oji. Yeah, she's on the background coordinating things, making sure there's free flow. You know, it's a superb work. Most times we get confused on what to do. In fact, 20 minutes before the section, she has already made sure that all of us join to be able to test our mic and test our network connectivity to be sure that we give nothing but the best. So thank you so much to everyone who has continuously contributed to the growth of this platform. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you guys once again next month. Global Money Week.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, let me see if I can play some music, some of my.
I'll just have to end the recording. So
Yeah, please do.
okay.
Good. Thank you.